Welcome to everyone. We are very pleased to start this update with a new guest speaker. We are, of course, sad to have left behind Debbie Stoddard, who has been with us for 8 weeks, but very thrilled to have with us Mei Thaw. She is a researcher. She is with the director of the, sorry, I forgot the name, of the Researcher Republic. It's a new group of researchers from Myanmar who have come up recently with a report on the internet in Myanmar, which has been widely read. And she has kindly agreed to be with us for the next 6 weeks. As you know, the updates start very soon after the coup, out of concern for what is happening in Myanmar and to try to keep attention to what is happening inside the country as well as outside. And we have had a different speaker. The first was Ang Zhao from the Irrawaddy, and then after that we had Kino Mar, and lately we have had Debbie Stoddard, and now, as I say, we are having Mei Thaw. So I will give her first a chance to introduce better herself, and then we will start with the usual format of a short presentation and question and answer. Please, Mei.
Thank you, Leah. I'd like to introduce myself a bit. So I'm a founder and the director of Researcher Republic, which is founded in 2016. And our main research work has a strong focus on Northern Myanmar and the China-Myanmar economic corridor. So it focuses the particular issues of climate change, environment, land rights, labor rights, business and human rights, natural resource management, drugs, health, education, conflict displacement, and gender, so on. So we have a lot of covering issues to work on that. So we also have a lot of researchers inside and outside of Myanmar. So we are like remaining me as a public face, and also the other inside of Myanmar, they are staying as a pseudonym. So we are a group of researchers that working on every issues. So we are working on that. And it's nice to meet you all. And thank you, Leah, for your invitation, and SEA Junction for their amazing platform for that. Shall I start?
Yes, so as you can see, we are bringing again a new perspective to the table. So please, the floor is yours. As I say, you have about 20 minutes to just give an orientation of what has happened in the last 2 weeks. And after that, we open the floor to people here as well as the one following on Facebook. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm gonna share my slide. Can you see it all?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I like to start with my homeland Karenni state, also known as Kaya state. So a year after later coup, the resistance group like KNDF, Karenni Nationalities Defense Force, released statement related to the control areas of Karenni state into 90% by People's Administration Organization and Karenni People's Defense Forces, KPDF. So there's a lot of coalition groups in the Karenni People's Defense Forces as well. But as you see, you will see like 90% of the state administration is controlled by the People's Administration Organization and the KNDF and KPDF as well, right? So I think the question is, not the question, it is also interesting to see that how many of other state and region have control over the state administration system in the country, and what will be next for the future governance system where there is still like, lack or less access to basic needs, such as the needs for humanitarian assistance, the healthcare, the education, etc., and the budget to run as a state nature, right? So that's a raised question for this matters. And also, I like to point out that when we say like the resistance group related to the revolution is one state fail or unwilling to protect its own population, the people has to choose to protect themselves. So this is a choice we have, right? So it's how Myanmar is going through in this stage. So most people, we understand that, but some other international community doesn't. So that's what I want to put on this statement in my presentation. And so I just want to move to the another slide. So you will see the civil society statement on the response for the with the UN Special Envoy to Myanmar, Her Excellency Madam Noeleen Heyzer. So the 247 civil society organization, which in internal or external society, released statement responding upon Madam Her Excellency interview related to the controversial comments of power sharing. As you all see, the other weeks, Auntie Debbie already shared about it. And also this power sharing state comment is like which welcoming the military junta and legitimize its position in the negotiation process in the political context of Myanmar. So this like statement is like saying like so UN Special Envoy, Dr. Noeleen Heyzer, released a statement saying her office regretted a misunderstanding over a suggestion in an interview with Channel News Asia, indicating that she had used the term power sharing and the Myanmar junta and proposed is a solution to the context of the political crisis in Myanmar. But at the same time, when we see her comments on it, she's not the only one who makes us misunderstand. It also like Prime Minister Hun Sen makes us confused because when Khmer Times posted news over release of Australian Professor Sciortino from Myanmar custody, we were a bit busy confirming the local news and the international ones. Because the local news said, no, he wasn't released yet. Or the other international one is also kind of confirming or checking the news. Actually, Khmer Times actually post the news on their webpage. So I checked with the Phnom Penh friends. So can you check this is the news from the Khmer Times? Is this real or fake? And then my friend said, it's real. So when after that, an hour later, when we checking with the local news and local friends from Myanmar, and then the Khmer Times post has been deleted. So I think it's a kind of confusion with the PM Hun Sen as well. So this is how happened later. So Prime Minister Hun Sen released apology for announcing an intentional mistake over release of Australian Professor Sciortino. So we are just making a joke like that. This is the month of apology. Also UN Special Envoy released a statement for the explaining about the misunderstanding, and also Prime Minister Hun Sen released a statement apology for announcing an intentional mistake. So this is kind of a joke we have. So I like to move the next slide. So this is how we are going to discuss about it, but I already discussed it. And on the Union Day, as you may all know, the 12th February is our National Union Day. And then recently you may see the military parade on Union Day when the military failed to attract EOs and the people in Myanmar who remain silent about the event. And I believe on February 12th, the Union Day, we didn't check any news related to Union Day and did not post anything related to this event or pictures on our social media. And this is our silent strike on it on that day specifically. So instead, we post our best of best portrait or landscape pictures, and it became viral. So on that day, the amnesty news released in the newsletter of Myanmar by the SEC, so SAC, State Administration Council. We call it the SEC. So the former current statement chief minister, Nankin Trainin NLD, has been granted amnesty that was sentenced hard to 80 years for anti-corruption law for 5 cases. So each case has 15-year sentence. So in total, 5 cases makes her like 80 years plus with another charges. So they reduced her sentence to 40 years. So that's how they amnestied her pardoned like that. And also the military council announced that they had acquitted 46 members of the Arakan army who had been arrested and are staying on trial. So, but that's one of the controversial one because we saw the news on today's on social media from the federal journal said, this is compromising the presence of Union League of Arakan, ULA, AA Arakan Army, represented on the Union Day in the capital, Naypyidaw. So it has some viral issue on social media right now. So I like to move on to the EAO in action. So several statements we can see on the day of 5th February to on, like till 7th February. So on 5th of February, the 61 Kitchen Revolution Day, the chairman of KIA, Kachin Independent Organization, Kachin Independence Army, and Bangla urged all EAOs actors to support energy and fight to end the dictatorship in the country. Later that day, the Northern Alliance of 3 members, the Arakan Army, AA, the Tang National Liberation Army, TNLA, and the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, MNDAA, support KIO's statement and show their willingness and truly alliance commitment for joint military and political affairs. And later on, AA rejects the SEC eternal peace. We call it ironically. So it's like long-lasting peace, but we call it ironically eternal peace. Initial offer with no comments. So AA offered no comments about the invitation. And the Northern Alliance will not attend the Union Day. And the KNU, related to KNU reject the invitation from SEC for the Union Day attendance and saying the SEC was in schizophrenic stage. So that's from the media comments as well. And with the we're related to RCSS and SSPP, the Shan ethnic group organization, they have intense relation and militarization process in their region. So I don't mention much about it because there's so many like happening around. So those all are in the reference sources. So that will be in the PowerPoint as well. And I like to talk about Panlong Agreement, which is the anniversary, 75th anniversary of Panlong Agreement, and the NUG government, they released statement like felicitating to the Panlong Agreement stakeholders. So they have several felicitating each other for the Panlong Agreement anniversary as well. So, but there we can see debate upon the exclusiveness and the inclusiveness of the agreement on social media as well. So you will see the cartoon here. So there's like regarding to the Panlong Agreement as well, but also related to the non-NCA member, and the NCA member has a debate about it. And also the cartoon is saying like the military guy is with the hammer on NCA, and then they just like a cover like that. So it's a really ironic cartoon here. And I do really hope and believe that this was a positive vibe, I mean, for the Panlong Agreement anniversary, that people came to learn and understand the essence and the spirit of Panlong and how we could build the future of Myanmar. So I like to move to ASEAN. As you may all know, ASEAN has foreign minister meeting on 16 and 17 February 2022. So Myanmar like fails to respond to the invitation, and they just saying like, the representative from the foreign minister, Wana Maule, he will not attend the representative. He will not stand the representative unless he was invited equally. So that's from the BBC quote. So this this viral discussion and the news release, so many things happening around in the ASEAN discussion ever. And that's what I don't move on that slide, but actually I want to say that because there's a lot of happening with the international corporations in Myanmar, because we know that Total and Chevron recently withdraw from Myanmar, and Kirin will leave soon as well. I think they now leaving at, I think the case of Telenor is much discussed these days. The only question we have here is, does Telenor have a choice? So this is the SOZAT that military link company, how M1 Group and Investcom are linked together, and the viral and debate upon the corporate social responsible as well, and related to human rights due diligence. So that will be more discussed later on the other episode. Well, so to conclude, it's not too fast, I think. So points to ponder. So the question I have here is, you can all discuss together as well. So what and how non-NCA member and NCA members, some may know about these nationwide ceasefire agreements and non-nationwide members of NCA. So there's a lot of discussion here. And also in ASEAN in question related to 5-point consensus and its time frame, and the action taken if regime fulfills 5 PCs in a given time frame, which is not defined. So there's a question: time frame for 5-point consensus for regime, is it infinite? And what guarantees ASEAN could give to Myanmar people? And will ASEAN accept the brutal military coup and legitimate regime if regime follow 5-point consensus? And there's a curiosity about the mediator role. So for the Myanmar crisis, what and how? For the role of UN Special Envoy to Myanmar in ASEAN and UN. And also the last question I gave here is, does Telenor have a choice? So I think that's all for now.
Yes, thank you very much. And I think you can take out the slides. So I think you gave us indeed a lot food for thought. And I think if you could gently tell us more about the Palanong agreement so that everyone is clear about that. I am sure there are a lot of experts in our group, but at the same time for a general public, please tell us more about the Palanong and also what is NCA and non-NCA as nationwide ceasefire agreement, but maybe you can elaborate a little bit more, and then we proceed with the question.
Okay. And I like to, what can I say? I like to discuss more. I mean, I will talk about later about the Panlong, and the one thing is I just want to discuss about the ASEAN thing, but yeah, I will.
Let's first clarify about Palanong. What is it exactly? What was the agreement there, when it was?
Yep. Wait for me a little bit. I was my reference list. I'm sorry for my computer has somehow limits me to share.
It's okay, just in few words. When we talk about NCA member and non-NCA member, what do we mean? There is also a question.
Yes. Wait a minute. That's kind of technical issue. Sorry about that. Okay. Just looking for those.
Okay.
Sorry, Leah, I wasn't prepared too much about the.
We switch to another question then. It's okay. So basically there are other questions. What is the implication of the large multinational companies departing from Myanmar? How many more people will be driven into poverty? This is one question from Anthony Zola. Also from Anthony, the UN has been much too quiet on the crisis in Myanmar. Please update us on the position of the UN Human Rights Office on the situation in Myanmar.
For the multi-corporation, it's because for this part, for me, to be honest, I didn't do research too much on it. So that's how I cannot, like, I'm not in the position to answer this question right now. But maybe to the other episode, I think I will. I mean, for the like multi-corporation like Kirin and Total and Chevron and now Telenor as well. So I think we need, I mean, for me, I need to do more research about it. And the only thing I can share with you is only just on the ground issue for the EU parts, like the armed groups and the ground situation related to the humanitarian assistance, like that. So I think for the multi-corporation, I think I'm not in the position to reply that question. I mean, I'm not resourceful right now yet. So,
okay, so maybe let me add and try to answer. I think this is a very long debate, right, about whether losing this corporation would affect the general population. It's also the same debate that is about targeted sanction or more generalized sanction to Myanmar. And there are those who worry indeed that the economic depression will affect the general population. At the same time, I think many people have made it clear that they are in favor of this company leaving the country, particularly when they are collaborating with the current junta. So in their point of view, their leaving is good because otherwise the money would go directly into the junta first and doesn't necessarily reach the general population. But of course, the economic situation is going to affect the entire country, and we don't know in terms of malnutrition. I mean, there have been worried concern, right, about the economic impact on the general population. At the same time, one is part of the strategy to see the economy collapse, and at the same time going hand in hand with other strategy, included armed struggle. So I think this is a debate among many parties, but from inside Myanmar, I think the main voice is indeed that companies should not collaborate with the junta, particularly those that are directly involved with collaborating with the junta, or that they may benefit interest of the military. And so Telenor, of course, is one of those companies, but there are quite a lot of issue about leaving the countries, and maybe she can talk later about more about that. On the issue of the UN, I think indeed there is a problem, at the least in my personal view. The UN so far has not been able, including the UN Human Rights Office, and like she mentioned, the disappointing statement from the special envoy. Altogether, it seems that the UN still is not willing or in a position to be able to act. Actually, there are also concerns about the way the UN are operating within the country, and how far they are willing to somehow not collaborate, but at the least accept the current government to be able to operate within the country on issue of vaccine and on issue of human relief. So in general, I think there is disappointment on the UN, and particularly also on the way they have let ASEAN take over rather than themselves engage more directly with the situation in Myanmar. But let's go to the other question that have been posed. So one related to Kaya State. Kaya State is located immediately adjacent to Thailand's My On Song province. Please tell us how Thai civil society organizations are assisting or helping with the situation of the refugee, or also within Kaya states, if there is any collaboration, and also with the NUG. So what is happening in Kaya states, particularly in relation to Thailand, My On Song province?
Is it a question?
Yes. In which way, yeah.
For the humanitarian assistance?
Humanitarian assistance and the role of Thai civil society organization.
Thai civil society, I see. So I like to share my experience because I lived there for like until November. So I like to share about my experience. So I mean, especially for I think. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I like to share my experience, which is not too much updated, but in my time and then current time. So I like to share about the humanitarian assistance there. So when happened, like when the intense fight in Kaya State around mid-May. So we have to leave our home. And then starting for the working on the humanitarian assistance, we have some challenges like because of COVID, so the Thai authority, they closed the border gates. So there's a Thai civil society who helps a lot of humanitarian aid assistance since long time ago for the IDPs and the for the mother and child healthcare like that. So we have found some we have not met, like we have several connection at the time, I mean, in the mid-May. So they send the ration like rice and like fish paste or like salt and other necessary ration for the IDP as well. So at the time, it's really like quite well working with the Thai Border Authority at the time. But when the COVID has like surged and like a third wave, they see the border gate and they're not passing, they're not allowed, they didn't allow to pass the even for the Russian route. So sometimes we like the connection we have is they have to go to the border, crossing the border by walking, and then they bring the Russian for the villagers as well. So that's how I have experience with them. But for the other, like for the current situation, they have a like limited access because some are, so you will see the Sangling River, right? Sangling River in between the east side and the west side. So I think, so the west side can maybe probably possibility is like a little high to access the Thai assist on the IDP cases. But for the west bank of the Sangling River might be really like challenging because the main roads are now like blocking by the SEC, and also some parts are secured by the PDFs. So I think it's quite challenging for the humanitarian workers, you know, going past to these kind of main roads or the other way around. So I think this is the most challenging issue for the humanitarian assist workers as well. So I probably now I came to understand that there's a local society, civil society working inside in Roigor and other villages around where PDF or also mixed control area with the SAC as well. So I think the funding has the challenges thing because the INGO and also UN, including UN agency, they are like, you know, have a rigid budget, you know, allocation procedure. So they are really like, you know, it's really hard to, you know, apply these kind of funding opportunities. And also like to get, you know, there's a like a, you know, to get the, you know, for example, for financial statement, like for to get the voucher or, you know, to get the receive letter, something like that. This is really like challenging issue. So I think the international agencies and INGOs should consider the rigid procedures, you know, to reduce these kind of rigid procedures while they allocate the budget for the IDPs, especially for the humanitarian assistance. So I think this is kind of an alarming stage for the humanitarian assistance in the amid conflict situation, I think. So this is quite, you know, depressing as well, because when you are like, you know, when you have local organization on the ground, but you are not able to provide this kind of assistance, at the same time, the local organization try their best, you know, they're risking their life. For example, you will see that, say, the children staff has been like killed in the last 2 or 3 months ago. So I think the humanitarian assist worker staff, they need also like security. They have to face security issue, right? But at the same time, there are a lot of people who working on that, like risking their life, but they are just doing their best. So they need assist from the international community as well. At the same time, the international assistance shouldn't go from the SEC. It should be from the, you know, cross-border assistance like that. So we are just pushing a lot to international agency, but I don't know. For example, like just request only $1,000 US, and you didn't get it, that grant, only just for 1 month or 2 months, sit for the IDP children, for the education facility like that, they cannot, grant this kind of small amount of money. So this is kind of challenging for the local organization. So there's no local, I don't want to say there's no, but there's really less opportunity for localization process from the international agencies and the UN especially. So that's what I like to share about. But yeah, this is quite challenging. And most of my friends are now in the refugee camps. Not refugee camps as well, like in the IDP camps, they are running and hiding from the fights. So it's really like, somehow we lost connection and we cannot contact each other through, from phone or like from the internet. So it's worry. I cannot imagine how they are struggling a lot while working on this local assistance for the ITPs. Yes.
Seems that the help across the border is still not really reaching too much inside the other side, although many are trying to do so. It remains a challenging task. The question was also, I didn't read fully in terms of Thai NGO and organizations supporting the NUG more generally. So not only across the border, but they may raise funds for the NUG. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Support of international and Thai NGO directly to the NUG. Are you aware of people raising funding or support?
Actually, yeah, thank you, Leah. And thank you for the questions. Actually, I don't know what NUG is doing. Sorry about that. Because I didn't know much about what NUG is doing, especially for the IDPs. Because the last time I just write in an email that, can I like request the IDP data, how they collect the current from the current conflict, but they just tell me that, well, what kind of IDP data you need, because like you can find it in UNHCR. Yes, I know. I will find out in UN. I can find it under the UNHCR or also AAPP, because AAPP is really updated about the ground data. How many people die, how many people are arrested, blah blah blah. So, but the thing is, like, I'm really like, I don't know what NUG is doing on this case. So I'm really critical about it. Maybe they will don't like me. I'm okay, but I just like to talk about it. So I don't know what NUG is doing. So I'm not the position to answer these questions. Sorry.
Actually, you did answer this question clearly, saying that you are critical or they are not doing enough, in your view, about at the least helping the humanitarian assistance. In terms of funding, yeah, there are many groups raising funding for direct support to the NUG, I think here in Thailand as well as other countries. And but the question, there is also some concern, because now some donors have become worried that it may go to the army, to the people forces, and that is for some international donor. And like you said, among international observers, there is concern about the armed struggle, although from within Myanmar is seen indeed as not having much of a choice. So there is also discussion about how to give support to the NUG that doesn't is directed towards the armed struggle. So this is something of a discussion among donors at the moment. So we have again another question and a comment, and then maybe if there is time left, we can go back to your question. first a comment from Facebook from Nansan Nui. Sorry if I misspelled the name.
Nansan Nui.
Yeah, yes. Nansan Nui. In my point of view, this is what he's saying, he or she is saying, sorry. In my point of view, NCA and non-NCA doesn't matter. We know that NCA doesn't make sense from the very beginning. So this is a comment. I don't know if you want to react to that. And then another question, where can we, the audience, get access to the research reports of the Researcher Republic? So where can people that are interested in reading the reports, how can they do? Maybe you can share a link or direct people. So these are two comments, and then please reply, and then we go back to your last slide.
Yeah. My friend Nansan, so I agree with her. The NCA is a nationwide ceasefire agreement which is signed in 2015 under the in transitioning period from U Thein Sein government, President U Thein Sein government, and in between with the NLD government. So these signatory groups has 10. So you will see like, I didn't explain in my PowerPoint, it's like not much about the NCA. So they have 10 signing signatory groups, which include ABSDF, CNF, RCSS, I forgot the name, the from the Rakhine, sorry, and also with the NMSP from MON and KNU, and also with the other group PNLO. So these are, you will see like, I mean, for the Myanmar audience is really easy to find out, but for the other audience from the international, you will see the NCA office page on their website, and they explain everything about their statement and the objective of the agreements. So the NCA, for the current time being, NCA is like really critical stage in my opinion. So because I don't know what to say, because I worked with them in 2018 to 19. So because as a senior officer in a land, environment, and natural resource sector, so but I'm really critical about the NCA members, because I want to say that because they're just holding their agreements like a roadmap. But maybe I'll be really critical about that, because like the one after coup, the agreements, all agreements that made with the military government, what we see is it's all gone. So there's no, we don't want to legitimize these kind of agreements. That's what I see in my opinion. So they do not need to agree. I mean, they do not need to go with this NCA guideline. But yes, as an NCA is a way of dialogue. Yes, we understand that is a dialogue process, right? So, but that dialogue, that work is not working right now. So after coup, it's all gone. 2008 gone. So NCA gone. That's all we understand in our mind, because we don't need to negotiate with the SAC. We don't need negotiation. So that's how we, I mean, from my opinion. So that's how they need to stand for the peoples who against the military coup, right? But they are like, sitting with them, talking with them, even in the union, they talk with them. So what's the point of it, just listening what military juntas say, just doing what they say like that? We don't, we don't need that kind of conversation. So that's what I want to say to them. Because this is the program that I want to say, something like that, right? For non-NCA in the other side, like KIA, KIO, and also with the other Northern alliances, and also from the Shan state SSPP like that, but they are under the controversial issue, especially RCSS, Restoration Council for Southern Shan state. So RCSS and SSPP also like clash each other recently, and they are like fighting each other. Even they are like the same ethnic groups together. Instead of united, they are just fighting each other. So that's what the SEC want to see. So do they want to do like that? So it's like divide and rule is really working right now for the Shan state. And for the for KIA, KIO, and other Northern Alliance, as I put in my slide, they are really like art, to cooperate with the NUG government, and they just doing what the best for the people. So that's how I see. So they are quite really like on the track. So the people support them. You might not believe that we just raise fund a lot for to support it, like for the IDPs around in this area, and also in Karen and Kaya and so on. So that's how people just support to fight against the junta. So that's, you need to stand with the people. So that's what I want to say. Stand with the people. Yep.
I think the message is clear, but now can you tell us where to find the researcher, the reports?
Yes.
How can people access? Yes.
Yes. Actually, it's on Researchers Republic page. I like to share the. Okay. Should I share on?
Tom can share it.
Can you share the link to the chat? Yeah. So so we published the first report on the cybersecurity issues related, after coup. But this report has written by Laura Siegel and Mikon. So this is our researcher, and they are expert on that. So if you have related to report questions and answer, you can directly contact with them, or maybe you can directly write to us. We have Researcher Republic email on the page, and you can directly contact with us. And for the future, because we have lots of report to publish, so just stay tuned with us. We have a lot of fascinating reports to move on. So just subscribe.
Can you tell us more about the topic of the future reports?
Wait a minute. Are we already set the title? Economic collapse. Actually, yeah. Actually, it's another report by the, I think, different researcher. So for me, I'm just only director. Okay, I haven't write anything yet, but I have one report. Not report, is a critical perspective on land law when under the government, very critical view on under the government. Maybe they might hate me. So I just write about the land laws and how these not pro farmer law. So it only just pro investment. So that's how I write about the SEAS Singapore Research Institute. So I only just write these kind of perspective only, but maybe like the other future reports, maybe I will contribute. So these reports are not my report yet for the publication side. So so I cannot say any detail yet.
Share also we will share the link to your perspective piece.
Yes.
Or this or the next event, or we will put it later in our
Sure.
Facebook page so that people have access. Was published with ISEAS and
Yes.
Multisar, I think, was involved. So it's quite interesting read. So I want to, there is not much time, but you want to add anything more on any of the points you raised in the last slide?
Actually, I just want to discuss about the ASEAN, you know.
So please go ahead, just discuss now about ASEAN.
I just want, you know, yeah, I just want the audience also, you know, give a point of view. So that's what I expect, you know, from the conversation. But I only just talking, you know. So
yeah, that is the idea, that you are the one, the resource person. I think you will get used to the format. But maybe now you can tell us more about your view on the ASEAN that you wanted to highlight.
Yes, actually, I just have questions on. Oh, wait a minute, my PowerPoint.
The 5-point consensus, yes, that was.
Yes, 5-point consensus, and so because like the 5-point consensus has no time frame, so that's what I'm worried. So, I mean, in my opinion, not from the other opinions. So it's like, so if ASEAN just given like a time, like maybe like another 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, just waiting the SAC is implementing these related 5-point consensus. So so if they follow the 5-point consensus, will ASEAN accept the military junta, military regime to be legitimate government? Will they accept it? That's my question. Because like there's no time frame, is like they just given opportunities to military government. So that's really a big question for me. And the mediator role for Myanmar crisis, right? So for the UN special envoy to Myanmar and ASEAN, also UN, but UN is busy right now for the Ukraine case. So so I think for the ASEAN, so UN will hand over to ASEAN. I mean, related to Myanmar case, maybe ASEAN you can do it, or maybe like just encouraging you can deal with Myanmar. So maybe ASEAN can be only one who are dealing with the Myanmar crisis, and also ASEAN also influenced by China and also US, right? So they might have a power imbalance within. I don't know. So there's a lot of questions related to ASEAN and also to the UN special envoy, because what's her next plan? Because also from the statement from the civil society given a lot of inputs to her. So I think she gets a lot of positive, and constructive approach, to deal with the Myanmar crisis. I believe. So anyone, can you tell us 5-point consensus time frame questions? So ASEAN should answer this.
I don't think anyone can answer, because indeed, as you know very well, there is no timeline, and but not only that. I mean, there is also no consensus within ASEAN on how to proceed further. We have seen this very clearly with the role of Hun Sen and the way he went on his own, and mainland Southeast Asia was not really. Mainland Southeast Asia was somewhat in favor, but peninsular Southeast Asia was clearly not in favor of him going, even if formally went as a bilateral visit. So I think ASEAN will have also to work out how to deal further with Myanmar. I think they have realized that SAC cannot be trusted, and I think even Hun Sen has been quite, as we say, I think in the region, lost faith for the way he first announced the fact that the Australian, like you said in the presentation, the Australian economist was released, while actually was not released. I don't think this looked very good. I don't think we'll be very happy about that, especially in the Asian context. This is really a slap in the face. So we will see what is coming out of ASEAN. But so far, indeed, there has been some action, but not much result. So I think time is coming to an end, and I want to thank you. I think you have brought many dimensions to the discussion that before we had not really paid attention to, including you have shown the variety of the different ethnic groups, how they relate with the military, and made a distinction among the NCA, the non-NCA, but also really stress that that is no longer valid, or maybe like your friend said before, was never really very effective or strategic. But the whole dimension of ethnic groups, I think, is an aspect that for many external observer is less understood compared to the regional and international geopolitics. So I thank you for bringing this to the attention. Also, another important point is your questioning of the role of the NUG in relation to humanitarian assistance. And I think this will be indeed important for us to pay more attention as we move forward on the role of NUG in general, not only the positive impact of bringing different groups together, but also how it works really at the level of operation within Myanmar, although it's not easy to know what is going on, as indeed the information is scarce in this regard. But I think you raise important question, which not everyone may agree, but still is an important point to debate for the future. I think this is something, and you have left open the discussion on Telenor, which maybe will be a topic for the next. We know that it's difficult for Telenor to exit the country, and as more companies decide to leave, I read recently Japan, also a beer company from Japan also decided to leave Myanmar. I think as more companies decide to leave, it will raise legal challenges with the current junta if they let them leave and in which way they let them leave. So these are all important questions. And thank you again for today. And I am sure with the next 2 weeks, you will have much more to tell us. So thank again to all the people that have followed us and the many new people that have come as a support group, I think, to you, which is nice to see that there are indeed, we are reaching a different audience, which is some of our loyal one and some new one, which is nice to see. So thank you again to everyone, and see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.